Hello, everybody. Elon Musk has just declared the next revolution is about to happen. Elon Musk has declared that Tim Walz will pay for his crimes and has been officially subpoenaed to two hearings before the House Oversight Committee on February 10th and is already being set to be in contempt of Congress for his disregard to mismanaged funds in Minnesota. This is about the biggest thing, again, coming from the richest man in the world to come against an elected Democratic governor official. Trump has officially shut it down as well. The Trump admin has officially frozen all funds that go to any care facility within Minnesota. If it's healthcare, shut down. Childcare, shut down. And he said that California is next. Everybody, this is the revolution we've been waiting for, but it gets even better. There is a growing amount of support online right now over people showing videos and even elected representatives saying that we need to move onto a nationwide strike on our taxes, meaning that we need to go in, change our stuff, and stop paying taxes. A nationwide tax strike. This is big, everybody, because again, too, the Department of Labor is investigating every bit of fraud that you can imagine of, whether it's unemployment insurance fraud, USDA investigating SNAP fraud. DHS and the DOJ are going door to door and executing search warrants of all the daycares, all the health centers in Minnesota, in Ohio. It's just been exposed that in Ohio, there's 40, guys, listen to this. This right here is the revolution we've been waiting for. It's just been exposed that 40 daycare centers in Columbus, Ohio have all been opened up under a Somali shell organization with the same name, receiving $14 million in the past year alone. All shell corporations, all the same address. Guys, we're going to show you the receipts in a moment. Elon Musk has confirmed, again, what I love most about everything that I'm telling you about this fraud, waste, and abuse is that Elon Musk is on it. And this guy, whenever he gets on something, he sets his mind to do something, it's going to happen. Richest man in the world, over $700 billion in net worth. He's got the money to make things happen. And I'm glad that he's making it happen for America first. Elon Musk has confirmed that the full force of Doge is being thrust against the Minnesota Somali fraud in all care centers nationwide. This is the big news, everybody. A lot of this is about to stop in the next coming weeks of the freezing of all care centers, whether it's healthcare or whether it's child care. If you're getting federal funding, it's going to be frozen nationwide if there's any suspicion of fraud. We've already got Ohio, Colorado, California, Minnesota, Maine, Massachusetts, and it's only getting started. But this is what we voted for. Stop the gravy train, stop the slush funds from being sent to these centers where there's no accountability, there's no audits, and now it's actually happening. HHS Doge is now demanding receipts and evidence to release any more funding to any healthcare across the entire United States. Guys, this is hundreds of billions of dollars that we are about to officially audit because the smoking gun has been found. We finally found enough evidence to merit just widespread, complete auditing of any funding to any care center, whether it's healthcare or child care. And again, I'm telling you, everybody, I literally called this like last week. I need to go find that clip. But representatives are now calling for a nationwide strike tax in 2026. This is a growing trend on X, on social media. There is so much fraud in the government that they say if a couple of million people participated in the tax strike, they would finally get the attention of Congress to rein in spending. Over $100 billion in foreign aid was sent out in 2025. We're $38 trillion in debt, but yet Congress thought it was okay to send out over $100 billion in foreign aid to other countries, and we're $38 trillion in debt. We've just found tens of billions of dollars in fraud from one state. Now we're finding out all their multiple states are doing the exact same thing. And again, all this is coming at literally the last day of the year, guys, but this is what we voted for. Stephen Miller says that they are working to repeal the Refugee Act of 1980. He called it the gravest historical calamity that's facilitated the destruction of America. He said this act flooded America with refugees from world's failed societies, created a vast federally funded NGO network to support them, granted uncapped welfare, and created a fast track to citizenship for the Democratic Party. I'm telling you, everybody, we're at the breaking point. We're at the point where when Elon Musk is declaring that a Democratic governor will pay for his crimes one way or another, he's about to testify before the House Oversight Committee. This is everything that we've been wanting to see from the Trump administration. And is it coming from Pam Bondi or Kash Patel? No. It's coming from we the people with our voices here on TrueLife News across the spectrum online of YouTube and X. When you share these videos on X and Facebook, guys, people are finally starting to get it. People are fed up with being good citizens, doing what they were supposed to be doing, going to work, busting their butts, paying their bills, and then looking on the TV and seeing how many times there's billions of dollars of fraud that is happening from foreigners, or our Congress can't help but give over $100 billion a year to foreign nations. People are fed up. I know you're fed up with it. I am too. And now the richest man in the world, a citizen of the United States, an America First guy, is fed up and he's going after it. Big show for you today, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for all your support. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Big show for you today. I want to thank everybody that supports our channel and your giving, because again, too, guys, we're making a difference on this channel. This month of December, we gave over $10,000 to a local charity live on stream, and I showed you the receipts. And now on the 22nd of every single month, we're going to be giving to local charities with your support when you give a super chat or you're a member, because we want to bring our own good chains and support those here in America that need it the most, especially these kids in these foster homes, in these children's homes. Thank you so much to Robert Cash for the super chat. Our boy Jim Barbato, show them some love in the chat, everybody. We're about to see some real stuff. The videos are circulating. People are fed up with this, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check this out.
I guess the biggest single thing is that there are massive transfer payments going to illegal immigrants, like massive. Essentially, we're paying people to come here from somewhere else in vast numbers, including flying them in. So, like, it's not like you need a border wall if you're flying them in. Then fast tracking them to citizenship and making them beholden to government payments, and voting hard left. That's essentially it's like voter importation. If you create a gigantic money magnet to and you say, if anyone comes here from anywhere else, we're going to pay you tons of money, give you lots of free stuff. Come to America and get paid to do so. Like, you're going to get a lot of people taking up on that offer. When people say, like, this is fake, I'm like, actually, well, let's look at Ilhan Omar, who was voted into Congress by a large group of people from Somalia who are in Minnesota, which is really far from Somalia. Or Mamdani, who was voted to be mayor, but by a majority of people who are not born in America. Yeah, that's my understanding, at least. And then California is a big time situation. So I don't know. We just don't want to turn into a communist hellhole, basically.
I'm telling you, everybody, this right here is moving forward. This is gaining a lot of steam, guys. I literally called this out. It's crazy. I called this out last week, and I said, what's going to change America, what's really going to make a difference is whenever the money stops going in, even from taxpayers. And now a national tax strike is being pushed. And this is, again, too, this is your hard-earned money. Because when you see this fraud, waste, and abuse, and you see that when it comes to Congress, that it's only after the fact that whenever we find out all the stuff that things start to change. How in the world did they just disperse out billions and billions and billions of dollars with no accountability, no oversight? This is where people are getting fed up. Because when I show you this right here, over 40 daycare centers in Columbus, Ohio, everybody. And if you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up like button. All opened under the same defunct shell organization. They all have the same name. The Somali Educating Resource Center has been identified as opening and beginning operations all on the same day with combined earnings of $14 million in 2024 alone. How is it that this coordinated effort to steal money from the American taxpayer, from people that, again, they were supposed to come here as refugees, and yet they came here, took advantage of our system, and now, guys, I got stuff to show you that it's so bad that the Democratic left-wing media is literally sympathizing with the fraudsters. Not saying that it was wrong, not saying, guys, you know what? We've got to nail this down. We've got to figure out where the fraud is going to. They're literally sympathizing that it's only because they're Somali that Trump is targeting them for fraud. It is a joke. We're now seeing that supposedly these daycares, Somali daycares, are being broken into, and that they're stealing the documents of all the kids, and they're stealing the documents that all the parents submitted. This is hilarious, okay? The Somali daycare people came out and they said, look, we just got broken into and they stole all of our documents. The police came in and said, yeah, after we investigated, there's actually nothing that was stolen. So again, guys, you cannot make this stuff up that is happening when you find out all the fraud, things start getting crazy, and it's just the beginning. Nancy Mace has dropped a bill to crack down on food stamp fraudsters stealing your tax dollars. The Trump administration is moving forward with holding these people accountable. February 10th, Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison will be in hearings before the House Oversight Committee to testify over the massive fraud found in Minnesota. Elon Musk says, Traitor Tim, time to answer for your crimes. Guys, this is big. Like, this is insanely big with how much has been found out. And now this is the biggest news of all, everybody, that the Trump administration has officially halted all funds going to Minnesota. And not only that, they're moving forward that any healthcare center, whether it's healthcare or it's childcare across the United States of America, if you do not provide receipts, if you do not provide the forms of evidence and receipts, you will not get any more funding. Listen to this. This is straight from the HHS.
Alex oversees the Administration for Children and Families. Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's child care programs. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade.
My office, ACF, provides Minnesota $185 million in child care funds each year. That money should be helping 19,000 American children, including toddlers and infants. Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
Today, we have taken 3 direct actions against the blatant fraud that seems to be rampant in Minnesota. First, I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment.
Did you hear that, everybody? Guys, I'm telling you, this is some of the biggest bombshell breaking news we've ever reported on this channel. And guys, this is just an amazing time to live in because, again, I'm going to replay this one more time, that this starting today, a lot of this fraud is being frozen. All money is being frozen. You are going to have to provide receipts. You're going to have to provide photo evidence that what we're sending the money to is actually going to where it's supposed to be going. Listen to him say it again.
First, I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment. Second, I have just signed and sent a demand letter to Governor Walz. I required a full 360 review of these centers. This includes attendance records, licenses, complaints, investigations, and inspections.
And third, we've launched a dedicated fraud reporting hotline and email address at childcare.gov. Whether you're a parent, a provider, a member of the public, we want to hear from you. Let me be crystal clear. ACF expects every state to uphold the highest standards of oversight, monitoring, and accountability for federal dollars. Minnesota is no exception.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable. Regardless of rank or office, anyone who's involved in perpetrating this fraud against the American people should expect to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Guys, I'm telling you, this is some of the most beautiful words that we've ever shown in our channel. We have this, another daycare scam is being run out of this house in Kent, Washington. This house, guys, oh my goodness, this is so bad. They have 3 kids that they watch. They've gotten $800,000 since 2023. They have 3 kids enrolled, and it's run out of a residential home, which again, too, guys, not saying that it couldn't be done, but when you only got 3 kids and you're getting $800,000, this is sketch. This is suspicious. Trump came out and has said much of Minnesota fraud, up to 90%, is caused by people that came into our country illegally from Somalia. Congresswoman Omar, an ungrateful loser who only complains and never contributes, is one of the many scammers. Did she really marry her brother? Low lives like this can only be a liability to our country's greatness. Send them back where they came. Somalia, perhaps the worst and most corrupt country on earth. Make America great again. Guys, this is one of the things, if you didn't know, the GDP for Somalia is $12.2 billion in 2025, okay? For the entire country. They have stolen more money from the United States than the entire country's GDP is from American citizens. This is, again, you cannot make up how badly everything is just coming out of the woodworks. People are doing everything that they can to protect these illegals. You even have Gavin Newsom, who is delayed revoking 17,000 improper immigrant CDL licenses until March, defying federal rules. If he misses the deadline, they lose $160 million in federal funds. Don't give them anything. No more slush funds. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much, Don Sturgis, with the super chat. Let's go, brother. Said no one is reporting about the Muslim Brotherhood's same fraud in Dearborn, Michigan. They chant death to America. We need help. We need Cash Patel. 100%. Guys, we're going to expose all of this. And our boy Jim Barbato with the super chat. Let's go. Show our boy Jim, Don Sturgis, and Robert Cash some love in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you, this freezing of all the funds that is going to any child care center unless they provide proof, receipts, photo evidence. We are finally cracking down on the waste, the fraud, and the abuse that Elon Musk has been calling out for a long, long time. Listen to this.
I want to bring in Mike Howe. Mike, particularly there's a Bloomberg article that, and I want to start at the broad because you're saying, hey, we got a problem here, and the big problem is this whole thing of mass deportations and how actually we're going to get these folks out of the country and do it expeditiously, humanely, but it has to happen. And they're saying there's some rifts inside not just the Trump administration, but also the MAGA movement. I don't happen to believe. I think it's more about actually how we execute on this. But I don't want to steal your thunder. You've been one of the warriors on this. So take us through what Bloomberg says about this moment in time and what we're talking about cleaning up this nation and getting the illegal alien invaders, whether they're phony asylum seekers, refugees, illegal aliens that came through the Biden administration brought in here, all of it. Sir, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Steve. About a month ago, I released a paper which is a deep statistical comparison of the 1954 Eisenhower operation for mass deportations and this past year under President Trump in his second term. Now, recall President Trump on the campaign trail said he's going to beat Eisenhower, which is the record deportation numbers, and has said that multiple times over. That is a standard that was set. And unfortunately, and there's a lot of reasons why, some political, some that can be fixed, some that are just harder to deal with, but the reality is the administration is significantly off pace to meet Eisenhower levels. The way I broke down the imperfect data is the Eisenhower administration in 1 year alone removed about 30% of the illegal population. And now we're looking at this Trump first year where it's way less than 5% if we're even being generous. The actual deportation numbers are probably going to be at year end, a little over 300,000. You're going to be greeted with a bunch of other numbers used to make up higher figures that are based on estimates and what I call funny numbers. And this is all complicated because the administration has stopped releasing the actual numbers. Even Democrat administrations on a monthly basis release the ICE numbers. So suffice to say, we were told mass deportations would happen, and it's not. We're getting mass communications and kind of, meme edgelord stuff from the communication staffers. But on the ground, we're closer than a little better than Obama, and we're dealt a far worse hand because of the invasion of the Biden administration. So a lot needs to change. The administration needs to go on offense instead of being on defense. They're too afraid of Democrats saying you can only deport criminals. They don't want to do worksite enforcement because special interest is poking at the political divide. And you're right, it's not a divide in the MAGA base. It's a divide in the elected leadership and special interests that are asserting kind of the limiting principle on the administration's deportation efforts.
You know what I hate, everybody, is that they're trying to change the definition of criminal. I don't know if you heard that, but Democrats are saying you can only deport criminals. Well, wasn't it a crime to come into the country illegally? Yes. Wasn't it a crime to come in unchecked, unvetted, lie on the papers, all this stuff? Yes. So again, the smoking gun of all the fraud in Minnesota, the deportations, the importation of so many migrants coming from so many countries that, again, what were they trying to do? They were trying to make sure that they could win the next election by fast-tracking people into citizenship to vote Democrat. A lot of this is breaking the system right now because, again, the voices of we the people are too big now, guys. You've got too many people out there like TrueLife News, like others across the YouTube spectrum on X, that nobody's having it anymore. Let me know your thoughts again, too, because this is, again, how you get true change.
So how? Is it a fair comparison to compare it to Eisenhower in his operation, or is it do you have to look at a broader picture here, particularly the mess that President Trump's been handed? I mean, this is actually, folks, I think worse and a harder one to solve than the stopping the kinetic wars, the kinetic part of the Third World War. And we got some interesting news on that. The Polish Prime Minister Tusk, who is as anti-Trump as you can possibly get, has just said in a meeting over in Europe that there's been a commitment of American troops on the line of contact in Ukraine. So I know that can't possibly be true, but that's what they're spreading over in Europe, that peace is at hand. But that problem, as tough as Middle East, Venezuela, Taiwan, and the Taiwan Straits and Ukraine are, I think this is harder. One, the radical left, and you see they're not backing down. They're up in your face. I wanted that. Your heads blew up in that cold open. I want you to see what we're up against, what President Trump's up against. Now, behind the scenes, the business community backs them 100%. Hal, isn't that the heart of the problem here? Is that to get to the mass deportation phase, you've got in our goal of a 10-year moratorium on all immigration, is that big business here wants cheaper wages, whether it's working class African Americans and Hispanic American citizens. They've imported the world, and they're fine to do that to drive down wages and make sure they don't have to have benefits. This is why the medical systems collapse. This is why the education systems collapse. They don't care. That's a working class problem. And at the middle class, they don't care that your kids got to compete with people from all over the world in their own hometown or for jobs that they should have in these big tech companies. So isn't the problem that the business community fights President Trump every day? And if you counted the 2 million that have left, and the statistical analysis that CIS and Rosemary Drinks and others have done says it's somewhere, I don't know, between 1.5 million and 2 million folks have left, wouldn't those numbers look at least somewhat better?
Wow. And I want to show you this real quick, just to give you an update that Caroline Leavitt warns people will be in handcuffs as feds zero in on Minnesota fraud scandal. Guys, this is what we want to see. There's other news that is coming out that I'm working to verify that Caroline Leavitt confirms the Trump administration will launch major fraud investigations into California and New York in addition to Minnesota. So I'm seeing that over here on my news outlets, guys, but I want to confirm that before I say, like, okay, it's actually happening. We know that there's investigations, but what we want to see is what you're seeing on the screen. The handcuffs. Put people in handcuffs that have broken our law, stolen from the American taxpayer. Put the feds on it. Get Kash Patel out there. My goodness, this is what every MAGA person voted for. We saw that they put Trump, they indicted him, they went after his money, they went after his businesses, they put a dang they put a order on him that he couldn't even say anything about the trials. I mean, all this stuff was done to Trump. We just want to see it done to somebody else on the Democratic side when you know that there's fraud, there's waste, there's abuse, there's criminality on the Democratic side. Because again, too, I don't know who they need to go after. I just say they need to do something. Because everybody wants to see accountability. If Tim Walz doesn't resign, if Tim Walz doesn't get fired, if Tim Walz doesn't lose his governorship over what we've seen and what's transpired, then everybody, I'm going to show you a video in a moment, there is going to be an American revolution in the United States of America.
So a lot to unpack there. Of course, it is different. 7 years from Eisenhower, the judicial system's out of control. The illegals are spread through multiple industries and geographically across the entire country, whereas in 54 it was primarily the Southwest and in ag. But putting that aside for a second and going through some of the other things you flagged, the 2 million number, with all due respect to my colleagues that pumped that number, is an estimate based on survey data. It is not the best available data source, and I frankly think it's wildly too high. And the best data source would be the illegals that actually took the $1,000 to self-deport. We offered monetary rewards for them. I bet you that number, who took the $1,000, which was up to $3,000 over the holidays, is probably less than $100,000. And there's a reason why that number's not out. And so statisticians who support and want to, give the administration some oomph have come up with what I think is frankly a funny number and a little bit of wish casting. It's not the best available number. As it relates to special interest, that is, I would say, one head of a two-headed snake we're dealing with right now. Yes, we need to understand that the chief funders of the Republican Party are in part these industries, and they have particularly, deep connections to this administration. Whether it's the agriculture sector or hospitality or restaurants, people in the MAGA base need to start viewing them in the same light. We talk about the Chamber of Commerce. It's the same deal. And we also need to make it as economically impossible for illegal aliens to stay in the United States, apart from just, working. That means the schools they treat as daycare, the health services, all the other welfare programs that end up trickling money down to them. It should be prohibitive economically for them to be here and remain here. Second is the political problem. A lot of Republicans don't want to talk about anything but deporting, criminal illegal aliens. They want a rule where basically you can't get deported until you kill someone, and that's a really dumb rule. But politically, it's free chicken for them because they can just talk about criminals. And the administration, unfortunately, has given into that wing of the party. If you look at DHS's website, you're only going to see things about worst of the worst. They aren't going to be talking about worksite, raids and stuff. And so the base needs to fix the politics of this and reset kind of the agenda to be the one that President Trump promised and laid out. I think that's how we get over the hurdle.
What's your recommendation if you were in the Oval this morning in Mar-a-Lago and went in for a cup of coffee with the president? What are the 2 or 3 things that Mike Howe would say, Mr. President, here, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to take political muscle, but here's what I would recommend you do to get to the heart of this mass deportation problem.
Yeah, so I would first start off by saying that this, next to the accountability agenda, is what the Trump 2's legacy will be judged on, and frankly, the entirety of it. And so we got to do it, and it's not being done now, and I think people have caught up to that fact. And so to do it, a firm reset of expectations across the government, that this is going to be a whole of government exercise to push not only the deportation levers, but every other advantage illegals get from the feds and the states to make it as impossible for them to stay here. So not just ICE, we're bringing in everybody. Number 2 is you got to go to where the illegals are, and that is, worksite enforcement and then other force multipliers, like the parents of, anchor babies. You can remove in larger numbers when you focus on quantity instead of just the quality that's the state political in the worst of the worst. And so be thinking that your priority now is quantity and not quality. And once you do that and the numbers start to get commas in them, we need 2 commas in the deportation numbers regularly in the millions. Right now we got 1 comma. But once you start doing that, people will get the message and illegals will self-deport. They're not self-deporting now, nowhere close to 2 million. But once you actually deport, they'll start self-deporting. So that would be my message.
Guys, I'm telling you, more stuff is coming out over this, everybody. And if you appreciate this, if you align with this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, I'm telling you, this is what we need to get out. No more taxes will starve the fraud. Just imagine if people went in, changed their W-4 forms, just stopped giving money to the government. How quickly do you think that their butts would move? How quickly do you think that as soon as they started to see a drastic deficit in the money coming in, they can't go after 30 million people. They can't go after everybody. The thing about it is that Congress needs a wake-up call right now. And a lot of people, guys, I'm telling you, I'm going to show you more videos, but this is gaining traction right now. You want to see how much people across the board are looking at what's happening in these videos. This was reposted by Elon Musk with 230 million followers, almost 231 million followers. Listen to what this video says that Elon Musk reposted.
I want to talk about how the average American is starting to feel as major corruption is being exposed, especially now with the case in Minnesota and the daycare fraud. This is not just about money being stolen anymore. It's about a growing feeling that being a good citizen, being a hardworking person, paying your taxes may not be worth it. People are starting to feel stupid. They think, well, I'm here, I'm playing by the rules, I am working hard, I'm providing for my family, I'm doing the hard work, and I'm the idiot. You see the memes online and we laugh, oh, me on my way to work, thinking that I should have just opened a daycare center in Minnesota and made millions. And again, it is funny, but it's also deeply sad. Because the next thing is, why am I even doing this? And that's the part that no one wants to talk about, because this kind of feeling shapes culture. I come from Brazil, as you know, and in Brazil...
So again, everybody, this is what's shaping the culture. This is what people are getting fed up over. Let me show you this video right here. I'm telling you, this is what we wanted, guys. This is the revolt that we wanted, that you want as many people basically just doing the fact check themselves and getting video evidence to say, hey, look what's happening. This is a daycare. This is a child care center, which you're about to see, that's listed in Washington State, has received $864,000 in taxpayer money since mid-2023. They registered for 3 kids.
Hi, is this halali childcare?
Okay, guys, you can't see it, but let me see if I can. I want you to see the words because he's asking him, hey, is this halali childcare?
No, there's no childcare here. Okay, God, thank you so much. Have a good one. There's no childcare. All right, guys, we were just at Halali, what's allegedly Halali Child Care Center in Kent, Washington, which is right behind me right here. We went up to the door, the exact address listed on the state website, receiving over $800,000 in 2023. They claim there's no child care here.
You see this, guys? This is blatant fraud.
Hi, is this Halali Child Care? No, there's no child care here. Okay, God, thank you so much. Have a good one.
I'm telling you, everybody, and look, it's across the board. Multiple representatives are coming out. Tim Burchett, look at this right here. My goodness, guys. Tim Burchett posted and said, keep in mind that Leader John Thune, Speaker Mike Johnson signed a $40 million check each week to the Afghan-based Taliban. Like, holy smokes. This is an elected representative calling out the Speaker of the House and the Senate majority leader. I'm telling you, everybody, like, this is the stuff that if we don't blast out, that's why I appreciate so much when you share our videos on X and Facebook. People need to see this stuff. That representatives, we're done with it. We're fed up with it. People want to see the truth. And while all this is happening, what you are seeing with your very eyes, everybody, now the media is saying is not really happening. The left liberal media is downplaying the fraud that you are seeing with your very eyes. They're trying to pull another Biden. Remember, we were like, oh man, Biden is losing it. And if it wasn't for that debate with Trump, where he started talking out of his mind, and then Trump looks at him and says, look, I don't know what he just said, and I don't think he knows what he said either, but this is what we're going to do, you know? This is what's happening with left-wing media again. Listen to this.
Thanks for having me.
Earth to the liberal media. Where is the outrage over Minnesota's epic fraud scandal?
Potentially more than $9 billion stolen from taxpayers, and the usual suspects had the most nonchalant headlines you can imagine. Here's CNN. First, quote here, first a viral video, then a surge of federal resources to investigate alleged child care fraud in Minnesota. Alleged. Axios YouTuber Nick Shirley gets FBI response to Minnesota fraud probe. And the Washington Post Homeland Security says a fraud investigation is underway in Minneapolis.
National outlets are making it sound like this is standard operating procedure. And even worse, the state's largest newspaper, the Minnesota Star Tribune, or the Star and Sickle, as it's called, is straight up gaslighting its readers. In early December, here is its headline, quote, Trump claims Minnesota lost billions to fraud. The evidence to date isn't close.
Well, flash forward to now. It claims, quote, for more than a decade, Minnesota has grappled with a fraud crisis in its Medicaid programs. The Star Tribune covered it extensively.
Do
Quote,
you
"For
see
more
this,
than
guys? Do you see this? My goodness. There's no more gaslighting that is more apparent. There's no more propaganda than what you are seeing on on this screen, guys, right here. In 2025, they said before all these videos pop out, Trump claims Minnesota lost billions to fraud. The evidence to date isn't close. And then as soon as all this stuff comes out, here's what to know about the Minnesota's fraud crisis. The Star Tribune covered it extensively and can guide you through the process. Look, it's gaslighting. It's lying to the American people. People are fed up with it. And this is what I love, is that you are seeing it for your eyes, guys. This is something I've always believed in. Every single job I've had, in every single thing that I've done, look at it with your own eyes. Just don't take my word for it. This is your own eyes showing you that propaganda is real. These people are trying to control you, trying to control the narrative. You deserve the truth. That's why we named this channel TrueLife News. And if you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, I'm telling you, we are at an inflection point within the United States right now. Too much fraud.
Decade, Minnesota's grappled with a fraud crisis in its Medicaid programs. The Star Tribune covered it extensively. Let's bring in Lexington, Minnesota Mayor Mike Murphy to talk about all this. Well, so first you had no news at all. Then now you're getting this distorted kind of news about what's going on there. CBS News, by the way, just sent a reporter to the Leering Center instead of the Learning Center.
Oh, they fixed the sign overnight.
Fixed it, and the CBS News reporter said the sign says Learning. There are students there. The state had sent in investigators to look at it. They never found anything too bad there. So they're whitewashing the entire thing. Do you think they're going to get away with it?
But David, real quick, you look at that picture of the street name right there. They're missing the L on Nicollet, so they can't even spell their address correctly either. God. And it's still misspelled.
So, but are they going to get away with it? I mean, this attempt to whitewash the whole issue, is that going to pass? Because the details that are coming out are horrid.
Well, the state of Minnesota took down their website that showed all these daycare centers for one, so that's a cover-up. Steve Grove, when we were earlier talking about the Star Tribune, Steve Grove, the editor, is Tim Walz's former deed commissioner, and guess what? Steve Grove is also Walz's chief of staff's one of his best friends, so of course they're going to run these cover-up scenarios. The Minnesota media is terrible. This fraud has been the worst kept secret in the entire world, but it's been covered up by the Minnesota media at every level. It's very disappointing. We have some great independent outlets and some radio talk show hosts here, but other than that, Minnesota is just very insulated. The Minnesota media is literally protecting the Democrats in the state on a daily basis, and it's very frustrating.
How long, Mayor, has this fraud been going on? Because as angry as we are about the recklessness of the money that went out when the economy was shut down during COVID, and it was like $5 trillion total, but it was $800 billion initially, and it was just rife, all of these programs with fraud. But what was going on in Minnesota started some years prior.
Correct, yeah. The legislators and senators in Minnesota started blowing the whistle on this back in 2018, even before that as well, even as earlier as 2015, but nobody was listening. And then in the gubernatorial campaign in 2022, when we were trying to get rid of Walz after he let our cities burn down, we can't forget about that, folks. He let Minneapolis burn to the ground, and the 3rd precinct of Minneapolis went along with it. But on top of that, we tried to scream from the mountaintops, the governor candidates and the Republican Party here, and nobody was listening either. This fraud's been going on for years, guys, and I think it's going to total into the hundreds of billions of dollars.
Hundreds of billions.
They're done uncovering everything.
But Mayor,
I'm telling you, everybody, we are scratching the surface, but when you hear this, man, get ready, y'all, because I'm telling you, this is the reason why it's happened, okay? Seattle Port Commissioner Hamdi Mohammed received $1,000 donations from Prospect Home Childcare, Billion Home Childcare in Renton, Washington. Tukwila City Council member Mohammed Abdi got $1,000 from Bella Home Health Care, $500 from Minnesota Best Child Care Center. Is it not obvious that these child care centers are continuing to donate to these left-wing progressive Democrats that are foreign-born coming into our country? They set up these fake child care healthcare centers. They get the federal funds, and then they funnel the federal funds to the Democratic nominees, who then run in the campaigns and use this money to win votes. It's right here, black and white on the screen, guys, undeniable. This is what's blowing up. This is why we've got investigations that are exploding into the Democratic regime. How is it that a lot of these health cares, overwhelmingly, health cares, child cares, are donating to these Democratic politicians? How many are donating to Republicans? Less than 5%. Okay? Guys, this is the fraud, waste, and abuse. This is where your money is going to. It's going to fund the Democratic Party. And that's why right here on the screen, Caroline Leavitt warns, people will be in handcuffs. We have to see this, and we have to show it on the stream. We have to blast this out. Because if we do not get people handcuffed, if people don't lose their positions like Tim Walz over this tens of billions of dollars in fraud under his watch, then we will have American revolution. Things will get bad because people are fed up and people want to see justice. Deb Longo, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Show Deb Longo some love in the chat, everybody. Said Biden's 4 years, 25 million illegals in illegal business fraud going on in sanctuary cities and election fraud in 2020. We demand voter ID go through. Amen. Pass the SAVE Act. Show Deb Longo some love in the chat. It's already passed in the House. Jim Barbato, our brother, OG of the family. Let's go, brother. Show Jim some love in the chat, as well as our girl April Green with the super chat. Said, pray for more love and unity in 2026. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Amen. Man, I love that, because again, too, while we go through all this, guys, remember, we have to stay unified on our side. We cannot have a fight within a fight, because it will destroy our party. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, member for 15 months. Guys, show Mr. Norby, OG of the family, some love in the chat, as well as Chris Prez with the 5 gifted TrueLife News memberships. If you got a free membership from Chris Prez, show him some love in the chat, everybody. Because again, what I love is we're growing this family. As we are showing you the breaking news, we have whistleblowers that are now coming out. Whistleblowers are telling us of more fraud that is happening across our nation. Listen to this.
Let's bring in Minnesota State Representative Kristen Robbins, chairwoman of the State Fraud Committee and a Republican candidate for governor in Minnesota. Great to see you, Representative. Thank you for being here. When and from whom did you first hear about fraud going on in these programs?
So we've had Office of Legislative Auditor reports going back several years, but the fraud committee formed last February, and we started getting whistleblower reports immediately. So we had our first hearing on the child care that was exposed in the viral video last February.
Well, speaking of what the governor was doing, and specifically his involvement in all of this, the first that we heard about it was that Minnesota Social Services Union that came out with a damning report of what he allegedly did when they came to him, when whistleblowers came to him, telling him about the fraud. It's not exactly clear when they did this, although it was probably over a period of time. But they wrote on an X post a while back, they said, we let Tim Walz know of fraud early on. Again, the question is how early? Hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud, but no, we got the opposite response. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Well, in Minnesota...
All right, everybody, you just saw this. This is, again, coming from the Minnesota Staff Fraud Reporting. Minnesota DHS. This is what Tim Walz has to answer in front of Congress to say, okay, they brought you this a long time ago. Why didn't you do nothing with it? Why are they saying that you retaliated against them, against these whistleblowers? Why do they say that there was threats, repression, all this stuff? And again, Elon Musk, guys, Elon Musk has come out and said that Tim Walz was in on it. Do you believe it? To me, I do. There's no way that stuff like this happens. And again, if you are looking at where your money is going, and he even said it, guys, he even said it on the debate stage against J.D. Vance. We're focusing on childcare. We're focusing on helping out. So if you were focusing that much to say that during the debate, and yet you didn't know that money like this was happening and audits, you would make sure that everything was on the uppity up. But again, it's the fraud, the waste, and the abuse that continues to run rampant. But we're calling it out right here. I love this, guys. I hope you do too. Show Sherry LaSalle some love in the chat, everybody. said, we the people have had enough time to rise up. Amen. Show Sherry some love in the chat. Brad Price, thank you so much, brother, for your membership of the channel. Rusty Coat, thank you so much for your support. Show Rusty Coat, Brad, and Sherry some love in the chat, as well as CRR123. Thank you so much. And our boy Jim Barbato, OG of the family. Hey, I think he's saying he's an angel. He's putting on some wings. He's got a halo there. Show our brother Jim some love in the chat. And don't forget to show Chris Perez some love for his gifted memberships. Guys, this is, and I got something to show you in just a moment. It is so damning to this fraud.
Well, in Minnesota, as you well know, you have a whistleblower law that's very strict. And specifically, it says that there can be you're prohibited from doing any action against an employee for making a good faith report of a violation or suspected violation of federal or state law. It appears that the governor broke that law. Is he being held to account for that?
Yes, it does appear he broke the law. What we have to substantiate is that it was directly from him. We have, documents and reports about his chief of staff and others from his administration. But so we're looking into that. But we also strengthened the whistleblower law because before, whistleblowers in these agencies had to whistleblow directly up through their supervisor. And so that's where all the retaliation was coming from. And they felt really targeted. So this year, I authored a bill that would allow them to also report to legislators and to law enforcement. And that's when the whistleblowers really started coming out of the woodwork, because now they had a safe place where they could whistleblow.
But they make no bones about it. They consider his threats, and I'm using their words, threats and repression of their reports, and the whistleblowers in particular. It looks like he was really being vindictive against them.
Yes, and certainly he was, as well as the commissioners that were running his agencies. And we have multiple whistleblower reports about how they were retaliated against, how they were penalized in their careers, how they were denied vacation or other leave, how they've been surveilled on their computers. There's multiple ways in which they were retaliated against.
And then you have the AG, the Attorney General Keith Ellison, who there's an audio tape of dating back to 2021. It's a few years ago, with individuals who were from the Feeding Our Future scam, and that was an absolute scam. People have are going to jail for that. People have pled guilty to that. So there's no question about whether that was a fraudulent operation. $250 million apparently stolen from child nutrition funds. He was essentially caught on tape telling them, basically don't worry about all of the attention that you're getting. We'll make sure it's okay. And on that same tape, there is talk about, basically we have this campaign going on, and are your people willing to contribute to that campaign? Not only his campaign, but other members of his family. That sounds like a kickback to me, doesn't it to you?
California Congress.
Yes, we had a hearing on this, and he says he returned the contributions, although during the hearing there was one we had found that he was unaware of, which he has subsequently returned. But he said, in that tape, he was definitely defending the people who were fraudulently stealing from taxpayers and saying, we'll make sure they don't come after you, things like that, instead of defending his client, which is the state of Minnesota. These people were suing the state of Minnesota, his client, and instead of defending the state and the taxpayers, he was saying, we'll look out for you. And that is terrible.
But with a contribution in there, that is quid pro quo. You lower
right
the heat
there,
on
everybody.
me and we'll contribute to your campaign. That seems like what was going on here.
It seems like it, and I know law enforcement has looked into it. Where that stands, I cannot speak to on a legal basis, but it certainly looks terrible. And he should be defending the taxpayers and the vulnerable citizens of Minnesota, not these fraudulent providers.
Now, we know the federal government.
Man, I'm telling you, everybody, this, and again, it's across the United States. So the one thing that has allowed this to happen, because remember, you got to get to the root of things. It's not just enough to go in, catch the fraud, put these people in jail. How do you make sure that it never happens again? Stephen Miller, who is deputy chief of staff for Trump, has come out and said that we need to repeal the Refugee Act of 1980. He said it's one of the gravest historical calamities because it's facilitated the destruction of America. It's flooded America with refugees from the world's failed societies, created a vast federally funded NGO network to support them, granted uncapped welfare, and created a fast track to citizenship. Remember, whenever you were hearing that these immigrants in New York were getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 debit cards, that there was times whenever they would feed them food to the refugees or these immigrants or these illegals, and they would refuse it because it wasn't from their homeland. So then they had to go spend more money to give them the ingredients and the foods from their homeland so that they could make themselves food. Like, this is the type of stuff that it destroys a society, because you have this guilt of, oh, we have to do this, that America is so rich. No, look, guys, if you're $38 trillion in debt, I would say you got a spending problem, but you're not as rich as you think you are. Just because somebody drives around in a Mercedes, lives in a nice house, if they've got, $300,000-$400,000 in credit card debt, and they're defaulting on their house, but you don't know it, and they're defaulting on their cars and you don't know it, it doesn't mean they're rich. This is what's happening to America, but this is how you get to the root of it. You have like Bannon has been saying, a 10-year moratorium on illegals coming in. Guys, because again, too, this came out this morning. It's official. This stuff doesn't even make sense, that you have the first New York City mayor of the biggest city in the United States is sworn in using the Quran. Now, I'm over here thinking like, holy smokes. He's already brought in somebody to be the chief fire commissioner who's never been a firefighter, has no, like if you look at the background, it does, the background checks of experience, it doesn't align, but she is they're calling her a DEI hire. And then you see this type of stuff using the Quran to be sworn in. Like, lots of stuff are changing. If we do not get a hold of stuff, if we do not hold people accountable, we are going to continue to see the fraud, waste, and abuse continue on. And again, in the month of January, I'm telling you, the month of January is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. We've got Obamacare subsidies that have lapsed, and they're going to be looking for them to do something. If you look at the federal spending on Obamacare, has doubled since 2020. In 2024, taxpayers covered nearly 80% of the premiums, pouring $114 billion straight to insurers. Here's the chart. This is undeniable, everybody. So whether it's the child care centers, the health care centers, whether it's the Obamacare subsidies, whether it's SNAP, whether it's the illegal migrants that are coming in, the United States is at an inflection point. When even Elon Musk came out and said, as I was saying in February of this year, at this point, that Elon Musk said, I am 100% certain that the magnitude of fraud in federal entitlements, whether it be Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, disability, etc., exceeds the combined sum of every private scam you've ever heard by far. It's not even close. And we have just unraveled. The door has been open. Crap is hitting the fan. And it's getting even worse. Because again, everything that you're seeing now, the Trump is trying to get back on track. HHS says that they're going to freeze funds across the United States for daycare centers and healthcare centers. That unless those centers provide photo receipts, unless they provide evidence that the money that they're getting is being used for purposes that they were intended to, their funds are going to be frozen. And what you're seeing on the screen, guys, is gaining traction. People want to go on a national tax strike. Remember, and I just want to remind you guys, oh my goodness. Remember when the Biden administration came out and they said, hey, if you if you send $600, whether it's Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, you must report this to the IRS. Okay? We have all this fraud, waste, and abuse that I've just shown you today. This is where people are fed up. The Biden administration on the Democratic side hired 80,000 new IRS agents to go after your butt and your money and your taxes to try to squeeze you as much as possible. And remember this, all of this stuff is coming from one side, everybody. Please tell me if there is like on the GOP side in the past 10 years that has come out that was trying to be this blatant or trying to do things like this of controlling your lives or censoring your speech, whether it be online, whether it be through social media of any sorts. No, it's very one-sided. And this is where people, again, are fed up. We want to see people in handcuffs, and we're sick and tired of it. And this right here, I'm going to hold Caroline Leavitt to it. Because if we do not see people in handcuffs like she says, then again, this channel will call out the Trump administration hard. We have to see people arrested. Tell me, guys, am I wrong? Thank you so much to April Green and Richard for the super chats. Let's go. Show Richard some love in the chat. Show April Green some love in the chat, as well as Ashkenazi Zionist. So the reports are now coming out of Idaho and Michigan of the same Somali fraud. I know, it is insane how rampant this is. Show them some love in the chat, as well as Better USA for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships. If you got a free membership from Better USA, show them some love in the chat, as well as Google user said, having my popcorn ready when Kennedy, Hawley, and the others grill Tim in Congress. Show me the perp walk. Let's go. I love it. Show Eugene Carey some love in the chat, as well as Jim Barbato, OG of the family, and Thomas Brewer said, you're on a roll. Keep it coming, brother. Guys, we're here for it. That's why we appreciate when you share our videos, because people need to see this. Show Thomas, Jim, Eugene, Google user, Better USA, some love in the chat. I'm just sick and tired, again, because I see all the data behind. I see how many people post and tell me, hey, Joel, I'm on a fixed income. Things are really hard. Hope we get those checks. Hope we get that support from Trump. Hope we get those tariff dividend checks. Again, I want to show you again, too, because this, oh my goodness. It's just receipts, 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 everybody. Remember when Doge uncovered that there was 12 million people that were on the Social Security rolls that were above the age of 120. Like, again, all this stuff has happened this year. I hope people haven't forgotten. I hope people haven't forgotten that, okay, how corrupt and how messed up the system is. But now we need to see the handcuffs. Jim Barbato again with the super chat. Let's go, brother. Show Jim some love in the chat, everybody. And again, as you're watching this, please let me know in the comments, because I do try to read as much of them as possible. Elon Musk has said that it is time for traitor Tim Walz to answer for his crimes. He has been scheduled to appear and testify before Congress on February 10th with his attorney general over this massive fraud that has been uncovered. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is all about serving you, everybody. If we don't hold these people accountable, if people don't see this, they'll never know. I've already shown you on left-wing media, they're literally trying to downplay the fraud. And I'm sitting over here thinking, how can you sit there and work for a company that is trying to not call out the fraud, but is trying to protect it? How could you do that? Show Robert Cash some love in the chat, everybody, because I want to give some love to those that have given. Remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we donate live on stream to a local charity. And with your support, we partner with you, whether you're a membership or a member, you give a super chat. Guys, we are given so much money. In the past 13 months, we've given over $62,000 live on stream. And it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep getting bigger because we're growing with your support. Show Robert Cash some love in the chat. Our boy Jim Barbato, OG of the family. Don Sturgis. Thank you so much, Deb Longo, for your support. Our girl April Green. Thank you so much. Our boy Mr. Tracy J. Norby, OG of the family. Thank you so much to Chris Prez and Better USA for gifting 5 True Life News memberships. If you got a free membership from them, show them some love in the chat. Thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much, Google user Eugene Carey. Our boy Thomas Brewer. Thank you so much to everybody that is given. Again, Jim Barbato, Robert Cash. Thank y'all so much for your support. Ashkenazi Zionist, CRR123, Rusty Coat, Brad Price, Cherry LaSalle, Patriots Unite. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. And again, we're here to serve you every day with the breaking news. There's too much going on, guys. You know we're going to bring the receipts. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.